Well, hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a while, it's that time of the year, isn't it, where it's just the end of the summer. Kev comes on YouTube and he says, this winter I'm going to make more YouTube videos. And who knows, maybe I'll be true to my word this time. However, I hope you're well. I am sorry for not being around for so long. It's been busy. I hope you had a lovely summer. I'm just back from a month in Spain, which has been absolutely fantastic. But the reason why I'm here, as you probably guessed by the title of the video, is because I haven't been excited by a piece of gear for a very, very long time. And I am excited, genuinely excited, by the new 56mm 1.2 lens from Fujifilm. As you know, it's a lens that I've used exclusively, really, at the long end of the range in terms of lenses from Fujifilm since it came out. I started shooting my Fujifilm cameras back in 2012, 2013, and I've been a very, very adamant 23mm, 56mm user ever since, really. And that all stemmed essentially from my times when I was using my very capable Canon cameras, and in those days I used 35-85, which of course is 23-56 equivalent. So, before I tell you a little bit more about the lens, let's have a look at some of the pictures that I've taken recently on this new 56 1.2 lens. Nice, right? Well, I think they're nice. It's my prerogative to think that my own images are nice, I suppose. No, there's not a great deal I can tell you about the lens itself. I know that, you know, a lot of you are wondering whether it's faster to focus, and ultimately, yes, that's true. Now, I know there's a lot of people going there, oh, it's all right for him. He's a Fujifilm ambassador. He's going to say good things. He gets free things. And, well, the fact is, I'm no longer a Fujifilm ambassador. That's their choice, not mine. I'm sad about it, but we had a very, very good relationship, and we still will have a good relationship in the future. Hence why I have managed to have the 56, the new one, on pre-production loan for a couple of weeks, so I can show you stuff like this. So that's not all doom and gloom, but the fact is, I'm not an ambassador. I will be buying this lens for sure when it comes out. I think it's coming out at the end of September. I think pre-production or pre-orders will be available at the end of September, or might even be available then, so pre-orders might go earlier. I think that the price in the UK will be around about £999, which probably means that it's similar in dollars in the United States. We always get fleeced over here. But you know, the ultimately what you need to know about the lens is that it is quicker to focus. It is sharper at f1.2, it is weather sealed, and there are less aberrations. There are less aberrations or no aberrations. In fact, I can never see aberrations. I don't really pixel peep. I don't think I've ever been able to see aberrations. I'm not even sure I know what they are, to be totally honest with you. But no aberrations or less aberrations is in the specs. So ultimately, what you have to know is, as I said, it's quicker to focus and it is sharper, and that's a good thing. Now, as I said a little bit earlier, the original 56 has always been a mainstay of mine, and it goes hand in hand, or always went hand in hand with the 23mm, I should say, was in my bag for those 7-8 years constantly. Almost all the images I took were on either the 23 or the 56. And of course, the 23, the 18, and the 33, the new releases, all have a linear motor. Now, the 56 1.2, the new one, does not have a linear motor. And I think you need to understand that the reason for that is that this lens, so much glass inside this lens, would have made it substantially bigger. That's my understanding. Now, the 23mm was, I was even involved in one of the promotional videos from Fujifilm for the 23mm. And when it came along, I did think, oh my word, this is great. It is great. The linear motor is fantastic. I'm going to replace my original 23mm with that 23mm when it came out. And I didn't. And I never did buy that 23mm. And the reason for that was because the lens, I think, already iconic 18mm 1.4 came along, and I prefer that now. I'm using that 18mm, and I will be using it with this 56mm together going forward as soon as I can get my hands on a retail version of it. By the way, those of you that are in the United Kingdom, you will be able to actually, in a couple of weeks' time, I think 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th of September, I'm told that Fujifilm UK will have a stock of these at the photography show in Birmingham. So if you're there, you can go to the stand and you'll be able to get your hands on it and test it and try it. Bring a memory card, take some pictures, take it home and have a look at the sharpness yourself. I will be doing a couple of talks, by the way, on the Fujifilm stand on the Monday and Tuesday. I will also be on the behind the lens stand, I think also on the Monday, maybe on the Tuesday. And I'll be popping up on the Lexar stand a couple of times as well. So come and say hello if you do see me. It'll be nice to see you. So let's go into Lightroom. We'll use some of those images I showed you in the montage. We'll have a little bit of pixel peeping, if that's what you call it, to have a quick look at the sharpness and a little bit of how Lightroom is handling these files already. Great news is that Lightroom does already recognize the lens even before it's been released. All right, here we are in Lightroom. You've just seen all of the images in a little montage, so I'm not going to go through them all individually. I'm just going to select a couple. I have put the ISO in the ISO aperture shutter speed in the top left-hand side and of the window here, so you can see it in Lightroom. And we'll just go through a couple of them. As you will see that they are already edited using my presets, my profile presets, which you can see from the link above. But we'll reset some of them to the original RAWs as well, so you can get a good idea. So this is shot at f1.2, and I've specifically picked out images that are shot at f1.2 just to show you the strength, really, I think, of that aperture. Now, of course, that makes no difference whether you're using this new lens or the previous 1.2 lens. The aperture is still the same, depth field still the same. But I really do love this 85mm in kind of full frame terms look to the lens. Now, if I zoom right in here, we can see that you've got a nice crop option, but you've also got a really nice depth field. It's nice and sharp, even though it's edited. This is nice and sharp. I like this image, very filmic look into it. Little girl just before the wedding gets going, having a little go on her iPad before she gets too busy for the day. Let's have a look at, let's have a quick look at this one, which I also like. Now this one isn't going to be pin sharp because it's moving hands, if you like, but it's still at f1.2. And I kind of purposely, when I was shooting this part of the day, was purposely shooting at 1.2 to test the focus and test the acquisition, and it's performing very admirably. Now, of course, I'm not tracking his hands because he's moving around too quickly, but once he did move it into the air and just kind of popped his fingers up there, that gave me an opportunity to kind of pinch something out, if you like. I like that image. I like that kind of feel to particular dancers, especially when it's particular characters on the dance floor. Let's have a quick look at this one here. Now, this is at the wedding, obviously, Daniel's wedding, in fact, and who is a very good photographer in his own right. And this again, this is at 1.4, so I would have been shooting in, I wouldn't have been shooting in aperture priority, I would have been shooting in P mode, which is everything on A in the Fujifilm world, letting the camera make these decisions for me. Now, it's still a very dynamic part of the day at this point. They've just got married, they've just walked up the aisle, they're having a good old celebratory snog, which is lovely to see, and the camera and the lens is keeping up with it perfectly. So I'm shooting these, as you will see from that data at the top, on the XH2S, which is a very, very good camera. Do enjoy using it. Actually, correction, I don't enjoy using it, but it's very, very powerful. I much prefer using my X Pro cameras, but it's the actual combination of the XH2S and the 56mm 1.2, the new one, is a potent one. I can tell you that right now. However, you know what you must be aware of is, as I said earlier, that just because something's new, it doesn't mean the older ones are worse. Okay, the new ones will always be better than the previous ones, but it does not make the previous ones worse. And that is one thing for sure. Okay, let's have a look. The very first shoot I did actually with the new 1.2 lens was this family shoot down on the coast, on the south coast of England. Lovely family. Parents, I photographed their wedding many years ago, and now they've got a lovely little family coming along. Those of you, by the way, who have been following my YouTube channel and my f16.clip website for a long time might be interested to know that my kids are growing up very, very quickly. Albie, in fact, is in high school now, started Friday. Rosa is 14, she's doing her GCSEs, all of that stuff. Time flies very quickly. Keep taking pictures of your family, folks. So here we go. We've got Dad hurling the little baby up into the air. Baby's having a whale of a time. Lovely, lovely picture, lovely moment, and I'm kind of preparing for this. I could see this about to happen, so I'm preparing for it. And if we zoom in, we can see pretty sharp. Very sharp, in fact. This is also at 1.2. As I said, it's edited, so it's it's got my kind of color profiles and everything on it. So in fact, what we'll do with this particular image, two things I want to show you in Lightroom. On the right hand side, if you have a look down here, first of all is the sharpening. You'll see that I haven't added any sharpening to this at all. So this is, in fact, this is knocked down because of the preset. This is knocked down from the 40, the default 40. That Lightroom assigns these days to the Fujifilm cameras. So I'm not kind of mitigating any sharpness issues by adding any correction in Lightroom at all. And if we reset the image to the original RAW file, you'll see here also that the profile has been picked up by Lightroom, which is good. And the reason why I'm explaining that is because if you are fortunate enough to be in a position to purchase this new lens straight away, you'll be safe in the hands that Lightroom has already got profiles for it and does already work with that lens, which sometimes isn't quite the case. So let's have a look. Okay, so I went to Scotland on Saturday, just gone, in fact. 7-hour drive there, 9-hour drive back. But it was a beautiful wedding, little wedding, 50 or so guests in their back garden. And being in Scotland, of course, it rained. It rained a lot. But it was nice to see rain because I've been in Spain for the last kind of month and I haven't seen much rain. So it was nice to see it, nice to feel it on my face. And most of the guests came in like wellies and relevant weather attire. I was there in my little black posh shoes and everything. They did get into a bit of a mess. However, it was good because it allowed me to use the 56mm, which of course one of the new advantages over the old one is that it's weather sealed or weather resistant, as they would call it. Now, I have to say, and I've always said this, that weather resistance is not something that would make me necessarily buy a lens or a camera, in fact. In the early days, the lenses and the cameras were not weather resistant. They all are now, by the way, the newer ones at least. So you're good to go in that respect. However, I feel like I've been shooting in the rain for a very, very long time with all my Fujifilm cameras and lenses and had no problems. We're in the UK, so probably the worst we're going to get is some rain. But of course, if you're in very dry areas, very, very kind of dusty, sandy, all of that kind of stuff, then perhaps it's more relevant. But needless to say, it rained a lot. Okay, and as you can see here in the ceremony, it was raining quite substantially, bless them. Didn't put any dampener, ba-boom, pun intended, on the day. But it was a good test for the lens. So one of the kind of downsides, if you like, of making these YouTube films is that everything has to be in 16:9 ratio. And so I've had to crop this previously for the export. So I will just uncrop it. So you get to see the whole 3:2 image. And again, we'll zoom in, we'll have a look at that. You can see the detail of the rain in the face and all of that kind of stuff. This is at f1.8. But yeah, beautiful, really, really nice. What we've got here, we've got dog, woof. 1.2 in this case, this little dog was wandering around all day. You will be able to see this full wedding on my blog in probably about 6 weeks' time, I would imagine. Now, I haven't zoomed in on this one, so I don't know what we're going to be up against in terms of whether I got the eye focus correct or anything. I'm not a fan. I don't use animal detection or face detection or anything like that. I'm very much a single spot person. So let's just get rid of that crop again, just so we have the full image. There we go. And we'll go into him. There you go. Yeah, that's pretty reasonable. I think I managed to get on his eyes. And I'm quite far away from here, from the yawning dog. He was giving me the eye quite a lot of times, so I gave him a bit of a wide berth. But yeah, I mean, you know, there's not a lot I can say in terms of the technicalities of a lens. The difference between the old version and the new version is that it's faster in terms of focus acquisition. It's much faster, in fact. Less aberrations, or none, perhaps even. I can't see any. And it's weather sealed. So, you know, it's, as I said, would you buy it over the previous f1.2 lens if you want faster acquisition? If you were finding the previous 1.2 lens slower, then yes, this is going to be a fine upgrade for you. All right, there you go. So, as I said, I don't get paid for this stuff. Never have, in fact. Even when I was an ambassador, I never have been. So, if you do feel like helping me out, you can look at and you like the editing in those images, you can have a look at my Lightroom presets and profiles. I'll link them up here and below. And they are more than just sliders, by the way. They are profiles. They're based on lookup tables, etc. So that's where we're at with the 56 1.2 lens. I think it's amazing. I really do genuinely think that it's probably the first bit of gear I've been like really excited by when I've had a pre-production for a long time. It's bigger. It is slightly bigger than the original 56. It's got a bigger thread. It's a little bit deeper and it's a little tiny bit heavier, but not much. You can see it. You've seen it in the stills. You can see it on my X Pro 3 here. I definitely would not use that as a mitigating factor in not choosing to buy this lens. Really, for everything that's in there, for £1,000 or whatever it's going to cost, I think it's going to make beautiful, beautiful pictures. You know, it's a tiny bit bigger. That's basically my technical summary of the size. But yeah, it's great. And you know, £1,000, a little bit bigger. I think, you know, just like good cheese, it's going to be worth it.